What happens when everything in darts, the pressure, the noise, the years of practice, comes down to one final dart? Because in the biggest arenas on the planet, we've watched legends rise, favorites crumble, and entire careers flip in a single, heart-stopping decider. Today, we're diving into 10 of the most clutch last leg moments ever played. The kind of legs that still give darts fans goosebumps years later. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at a deciding leg the same way again. If there's one match that defines clutch darts, it's the night Raymond van Barneveld and Phil Taylor dragged the sport into absolute madness at the 2007 World Championship. Taylor, the undisputed giant of the game, stormed into a 3-0 lead in sets like it was nothing. Most players collapse right there because once Taylor starts rolling, you don't usually get a second chance. But Barney didn't just survive, he dug in. Set by set, leg by leg, he reeled Taylor back in until the scoreboard showed the one thing nobody expected. 6-6 in sets, 5-5 in legs. Sudden death. And that's when we reached one of the most iconic moments ever put on a dart stage, the bull-off. Taylor hits 25. Solid, but vulnerable. Then Barney, with the whole world staring at him, tells the referee to leave Taylor's dart in the board. He wants it as a blocker. He throws his own dart, it kisses Taylor's, and deflects into the bull to win the throw for the final leg. That alone would have been legendary. But the final leg, that's where Barney turns it into folklore. He opens with 100, then fires in a perfect, thundering 180, then a 105. And with the entire Alexandra Palace holding its breath, he steps up and pins tops, completing the greatest comeback the World Championship has ever seen. In that moment, the sport shifted. Taylor looked stunned. Barney looked transformed. And darts fans had just witnessed a decider that still sits on the throne nearly 2 decades later. And unbelievably, the next clutch moment on this list was just as painful, but for Peter Wright, it would become a career-defining what if. If the Barney-Taylor final was a masterpiece, then the 2017 Premier League decider between Michael van Gerwen and Peter Wright was a heartbreak painted in neon. Because this one wasn't about domination, it was about opportunity, and how fast it can disappear. Wright had MVG, exactly where every player dreams of having him behind, frustrated, and chasing. He'd earned the lead, earned the momentum, and then earned the chance to finish the job. 6 match darts, 6 chances to take down the world #1 in front of a roaring O2 arena. First comes double 16, missed. Then comes his old enemy, double 8, and suddenly the doubles that carried him all season turn into a wall he can't break through, and everyone in that arena could feel it. If you give Michael van Gerwen even an inch, he takes the whole stage. MVG forces the decider with his trademark intensity, then steps into the final leg looking like a man who refuses to lose twice. No panic, no hesitation. Just cold, clinical finishing to retain the title and walk away with the Premier League crown and £250,000. For Wright, it became one of the great darts what-ifs. What if just one of those darts had found the wire? What if the night had gone the way it looked like it would? But that's the beauty and cruelty of clutch legs. They don't care who deserves the win. And speaking of players who live for those tight moments, it's time for James Wade. James Wade has built an entire career on one thing: surviving matches other players would lose. And the 2014 Masters final against Mervyn is Wade at his absolute peak, a man who refuses to let a match slip away, no matter how bad it looks. King came into this final hungry for that first major TV title, focused, sharp, controlling the pace. He looked like the better man on the night, and for long stretches, he was. But if darts history teaches us anything, it's this: you never count out Wade in a tight game. Never. Leg by leg, he drags the final back from the brink. King has the momentum, but Wade has the stubbornness, that trademark, unshakable belief that if he can just stretch the match long enough, he'll find the finish when it matters, and once again, he's right. The match hits 10-10. Final leg. Everything on the line. King trying to hold for the biggest win of his career. Wade standing opposite him like a man who's done this 1,000 times in his head. And when the chance arrives, Wade takes it. No hesitation, no nerves. 11-10. Title secured. Inaugural Masters champion. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't explosive. but it was pure James Wade the Machine quietly grinding down another opponent in the biggest moment of the night. And the craziest part? His next legendary decider would be even messier, even wilder, and even more dramatic, because Michael Smith was waiting on the other side of it. If Wade's win over Mervyn King was clinical, then his 2018 World Series Finals victory over Michael Smith was absolute chaos. The kind of match where everything falls apart for both players, yet somehow Wade is the one still standing at the end. This decider didn't just test skill, it tested nerve, patience, and the ability to think clearly while the match burns down around you. Wade first gets 2 darts to win it in the penultimate leg and misses both. Smith jumps on the lifeline, levels the match, and suddenly the entire arena can feel the momentum shift. You can almost hear the story writing itself. Michael Smith, the rising star, closing out a TV title in heroic fashion, except that's not what happens. In the final leg, Smith gets his chance. 5 match darts, 5, and each one slips away, drifting low, drifting high, drifting just outside the wire. You could see the tension pouring out of him with every miss. And as so often happens in the biggest moments, Wade is the one who steadies, the one who breathes, the one who waits for the door to open, and then walks straight through it. He hits the winning double, takes the title 11-10, and completes back-to-back televised triumphs after winning the European Championship the week before. It was messy, it was dramatic, and it was textbook Wade, proving once again that in the final leg of a pressure match, he's one of the most dangerous players alive. But chaos wasn't done with this list yet, because the next moment didn't just test the players, it tested the officials. Some deciders are iconic because of the darts thrown. This one, because of everything around them. Cristo Reyes, the unseeded outsider. Wes Newton, the no 13 seed expected to cruise through. Their second round clash at Ali Pali already had tension, big finishes, momentum swings, the crowd sensing something brewing. But no one expected it to turn into one of the strangest sudden death legs the World Championship has ever seen. They reach a deciding set, then a deciding leg, then sudden death. But before a sudden death leg begins, both players must throw for the ball to decide who starts. Except the referee forgets, he just starts the leg. Chaos erupts, confusion everywhere. Play is stopped. Players are pulled back. The leg has to be restarted. Imagine the adrenaline, the nerves, the rhythm all ripped apart in front of thousands. Most players would crumble under that kind of disruption, but Cristo Reyes does the opposite. When the procedure is finally corrected, he regroups, refocuses, steps into the real sudden death leg like a man who refuses to be rattled by the moment or the madness surrounding it. And when the chance comes, he takes it cleanly, eliminating Newton and producing one of the biggest upsets of that year's tournament. It was controversial, it was messy, but it was also undeniable. Reyes proved he could handle the chaos better than the favorite. And next up, we dive into a match that wasn't remembered for mayhem, but for more pure scoring than almost anyone had ever seen on a World Championship stage. Some last leg deciders are iconic because of pressure, others because of drama. But this one is remembered because the scoring was so heavy, it barely felt real. Dirk van Duevenbode and Ross Smith stepped onto the Ali Pali stage and produced a match that sounded like a slot machine stuck on jackpot mode. 31, 180s smashed between them. Ross fired in 19. Dirk piled on 12. Every visit felt like another maximum, another cheer, another shockwave rippling through the crowd. Smith kept landing haymakers. Dirk kept answering back. Neither man blinked. And as the sets ticked upward 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, the energy grew thicker, the tension heavier, the belief stronger that this one was destined for a last leg shootout. When the decider finally came, it felt less like a darts match and more like a sprint to the line. One mistake could end everything. One perfect visit could define a career. And in the chaos of the scoring war, it was Van Duevenbode who held on, powering through the final leg and sealing a 4-3 victory in one of the most electrifying matches that round has ever produced. It wasn't just clutch, it was a statement proof that the modern era of darts is faster, heavier, and more ruthless than ever, and it set the tone perfectly for what came next. Every so often, a tournament gives us a night where the darts gods seem determined to cause maximum stress, and the 2020 Grand Slam quarterfinals delivered exactly that. First, Simon Whitlock versus Michael van Gerwen. A match stuffed with big trebles, big checkouts, and big swings, the kind where neither player ever gets more than a moment's breathing room. It grinds all the way to 15-15. One leg for survival, one leg for the semi-finals. Whitlock, the veteran who always seems to find something extra when the match is at boiling point, digs deeper than ever, and when the double comes, he hits it, 16-15. A brutal end for Van Gerwen, but pure clutch from Whitlock. And just across the bracket, something equally wild was unfolding. Nathan Aspinall versus Dimitri van den Berg. Two young guns, two future major champions, and neither willing to give an inch. Dimitri forces the decider with a massive 180 followed by a double 16, a clean, fearless finish that brings the match to the brink. The stage is buzzing, the tension is thick, and Aspinall steps into the final leg knowing he needs one moment of absolute clarity. He gets it. Double 18, bang, match over, two matches. Two deciding legs, two careers pushed to their absolute limits, and both decided by players who embraced the pressure instead of shrinking from it. But if you think that's dramatic, the next match on this list takes clutch to a whole new level because it features a miscount, a stunned crowd, and a sudden death leg no one saw coming. Some matches feel tense, some feel dramatic, but this one felt cursed in the best possible way for fans. Ricky Evans versus Dave Chisnall in the second round of the 2024 over 25 World Championship had everything you don't expect from a seasoned professional match. Big finishes, heavy scoring, constant swings. But the moment everyone remembers, the moment that froze Ali Pali was the miscount. Chisnall steps up needing 139. He hits treble 14, treble 19, and then double 16. He celebrates, the crowd erupts, except he hadn't actually won the leg. It was the kind of mistake you almost never see at this level, and suddenly the entire match tilted into chaos. Evans took advantage, forced the match all the way into a deciding set, and then into the most ruthless scenario in darts, a sudden death leg. Evans survives one match dart a lifeline that could have ended everything and then resets, because in sudden death, all that matters is who can breathe when the other man can't. He wins the bull, he throws first, and he holds his nerve to pin the winning double, knocking out the number 6 seed, in a match that felt impossible to predict at any moment. For Chisnall, it was a heartbreaker. For Evans, it was the moment of his career. For the crowd, pure, unforgettable theatre. And unbelievably, the Ali Pali drama wasn't done. If you ever need an example of how quickly a darts match can swing from comfortable to catastrophic, Johnny Clayton's clash with Mickey Mansell is the perfect case study. Clayton entered as the favourite, calm, experienced, in control. Then Mansell detonated the match. A 136 checkout, followed immediately by a 154. Two massive, ruthless finishes that turned the final set upside down and shoved Clayton right to the edge of elimination. The crowd went from murmuring to roaring in seconds because suddenly, the Welshman who never shows nerves looked like he needed every ounce of composure just to stay alive. Somehow, he finds it. Clayton drags the match to a deciding leg, but because it's the World Championship, and because drama apparently wasn't finished with him, it becomes another sudden death shootout. Over an hour on stage, tension mounting, everything on the line, this is where careers can crack. But Clayton? He's made of tougher stuff. With one final visit, he steps up and nails double 5, sealing the match and letting out a burst of emotion you rarely see from him. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't easy. But that's what makes it unforgettable. A top player pushed to breaking point, refusing to fold, and surviving by the narrowest margin possible. And now, with all these individual battles covered, it's time for the final entry, one of the greatest team deciders the sport has ever witnessed. Some finals feel big. This one felt historic. Northern Ireland Daryl Gurney and Josh Rock standing toe-to-toe with Wales Gerwen Price and Johnny Clayton in the World Cup final that turned into one of the greatest team matches the sport has ever seen. From the very first leg, it was obvious neither nation was going to back down. Breaks of throw, huge checkouts, swings in momentum, every trip to the oche felt like a turning point. Gurney powered through pressure. Rock matched the Welsh pair dart for dart. Price and Clayton answered with the kind of icy finishing that wins titles. By the time the scoreboard hit 9-9, the arena was shaking. One last leg, 4 players, 1 world title. And in the decider, Josh Rock delivered the moment Northern Ireland needed, a 171 that exploded through the noise and yanked the match in his team's favour. It was fearless, perfect, a darting thunderbolt. Then came Gurney. Earlier in the match, he'd missed 4 championship darts, the kind that haunt players for years. But legends aren't defined by the darts they miss. They're defined by the darts they hit when everything is on the line. So when he finally stepped up to hit double 8, the pressure was indescribable. 1 dart for the title. 1 dart to rewrite the story. He steadied, released, and nailed it. The reaction told the whole story. Both Gurney and Rock dropped to their knees in tears. Northern Ireland were World Cup champions for the first time, in a final that will be replayed, rewatched, and relived for generations. It wasn't just clutch, it was monumental. When you look back at these 10 last leg deciders, you realize something powerful. Darts isn't just a game of accuracy, it's a game of nerve, heart, and the courage to take the shot that could define your entire career. From Barney's perfect composure in the greatest final ever, to Wright's heartbreaking misses against MVG, to Wade's calm in chaos, Ray's focus amid confusion, Dirk and Smith's scoring explosion, Aspinall's dagger, Evans's survival, Clayton's resilience, and Northern Ireland's emotional World Cup miracle, every one of these moments shows why darts delivers drama like no other sport. A single dart can erase the past, a single double can change a legacy, a single leg can live forever. And that's the magic of a decider. You never know who will rise, who will fall, or who will hit the dart that the world will talk about for years. Which of these clutch moments lives rent-free in your head? And which one do you want us to break down next?